what? So,
Oh no,
oh,
we live now.
all right,
But we're gonna wait for Danny because she about to pull up.
all
But
right.
it was very nice meeting you yesterday. Thank you for pulling up.
Oh
Can't
yeah,
hear
and
us,
thank you guys for
Danny.
having me last night and again today. So,
All right, let's see you with your there you go, Danny. We see
Oh,
you.
hey,
We live.
hey,
We
hey, y'all.
live,
It sounds
baby.
kind of low.
Say
Is
yo,
that me?
hello,
oh,
hello.
hello. You know what?
I sound kind of low. I can't hardly hear you all. Is it me?
Hello?
Yeah, it's you. I can hear all you.
Okay, it's real low on my side. I don't know why, but okay.
Yeah, because
Well, I tell
them
you,
ears. Because you
all you
can't
guys got
barely.
your hat. Let me go grab my hat. I'll be right back. Hold on.
No, it's probably not you. It's me. It sounds like the whole thing is
Oh
low,
yeah, he's gonna
so it
grab
could be
his
on
hat.
my side.
You
Uh,
barely can hear. You know,
you
what I
said what
told you
though?
when you're an old tender.
See,
Look, I'm gonna
see,
come out and come back
I
in. That's what I'm gonna
Yeah,
do. I'm gonna
as
go out and come
an
back.
old tender.
You all can
Yeah.
start because I want to just make sure because it's real
oh,
low on my end.
Okay.
okay.
Put that
Okay.
volume up. Put that
Well, I
volume
felt
up.
left out. All you guys are wearing, red hats. I got to go grab mine too. So,
Okay. Okay. Sometimes you gotta do that. You gotta wear the hat. You gotta wear the hat. What's your hat
no-
say?
well, mine says "Make America Great Again," but I normally wear one that says "Grumpy Old Vet" on it, and because I don't know, everyone comes up to me, "You don't look grumpy, you grumpy old man." I'm like, "Oh, you haven't seen me for coffee." My goodness. So,
I like coffee too. I like cold brew. Cold brew.
yeah, I like a good cold brew. I got an espresso machine. Those do some good stuff too. You know what? To me, as long as it's good and it's coffee, I'm happy.
Okay. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it.
Oh, she disappeared. Where'd she go off to?
Where she go? Right here. Am I to add her again? You hear us? Oh wait, no, she ain't come back. She was coming in and come back out. She said she couldn't hear us, but I hear you.
Oh,
You hear me?
I hear you fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard her fine.
yeah, I hear her fine too.
Okay, now it's good. Yeah, it's
You
perfect.
got
Yeah,
us.
Okay. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
All right,
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
all
All
right.
right. So we'll tell you hello. We're waiting for you.
Hello,
Man.
hello, hello.
Hey, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Yes, ma'am.
All
So,
right. So today we have an impromptu famous Friday because usually we have we let people know, but John pulled up to our cocktails and conversation at Trump
yeah.
Tower, and John has been trying to get with us for a minute. He wants to do an event together, which I'm still down to do the event. John, you just gotta
All
let
right.
us know where you want to do it in the park. We got it. So
Yeah.
that's it. At the end of the day, teamwork made the dream work.
You know
So
what? We'll do that. And I got someone else I want to bring on board too when we do that. We were talking about financial literacy and stuff last night, and she's wanting to reach out to the South Side and the West Side and give classes on financial literacy to help. Because she grew up on the West Side and she ended up making a success of herself, and she wants to be able to help others do that as well. So I'd love to invite her whenever we coordinate this.
okay,
Okay.
okay. So it says that you are from Des Plaines, Illinois.
That's where I live. I live in Des Plaines. I'm originally from downstate, so long story. I was born in Illinois, in Collinsville, down in Madison County. But I was a military brat, and then I joined the military myself after I grew up. So I kept my home record in Jersey County, where my mom's side of the family lives, and my mom still lives today. And I've lived in Illinois, actually physically. This is like my second or third time, something like that, in Chicagoland. I've lived downstate, where my mom lives in Jersey County. So I've been all over the state. I realized that Chicago and then south of 80 are two different worlds, but I've lived in both and understand both. So I understand that since they're two different worlds, they need two different needs, you know? So,
Mhm. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, okay. You're a U.S. veteran with a focus on veterans advocacy and mental health support. So, do you feel like what is your take on mental health and the lack of what we have now?
Oh my goodness. So after I got out of the military, I lived in Tennessee for a while because when I got out, I found out that I had bad PTSD, and I had to get a service dog, and I took out a student loan to pay for my service dog because weren't uh, there weren't assets available, weren't programs available back then, and so after I did that, I decided to do the same in return, and I founded a nonprofit in Tennessee, and we trained and provided service dogs for veterans with PTSD. I was a cop in the Air Force, and I got some canine buddies of mine to come and train and help out. And we were around for a year or two. It wasn't wildly successful, but I was able to grow it regionally. Just getting a nonprofit, running a nonprofit. Oh my goodness, it's hard work. So everyone loves to say, "Hey, good job. Glad to see what you're doing something," but people don't like to actually, give the money to help out. So, but it was, you know what? I believe personally, aside from veterans, veterans do need more help. 22 to 44 veterans a day kill themselves, depending on which survey you look at, which study you look at. But in all honesty, here in America, we have a mental health epidemic, and it's largely being ignored. And I think that contributes to a lot of the craziness you actually see on the streets and a lot of the homelessness. All right, I'll get political. So statewide, the Safety Act, if you look at that, what it did was, one, everyone knows it tied the cops' hands, but two, it originally went in because here in Illinois, we were dead last in the nation for mental health issues. So cops used to be able to go and say, "Hey, this person's kind of, let's go put him on 72-hour hold, get him looked at, get him checked out." And they were able to, pull a lot of people off the streets like that. But once the Safety Act went in, cops couldn't do that anymore. So now we have all the mental health people out on the street. But the numbers look great. We're no longer last in the nation in mental health, poor mental health. Now we're up there. It's because it's ignored as opposed to addressed. So
Right. Yes, that's exactly. And I knew that after, and I used to say this, but before, when they were censoring you on social media about the pandemic and things like that,
yep.
I knew after COVID it was going to be. It was no way. After COVID, they should not have access. We should not, the people, citizens, period, should not have access to mental health, just talking to someone, talking to strings, talking to with your mental health, because that COVID did a lot of damage to the mental during that time. So it was no way.
It did. It was much like I lived in Alaska for a little bit. I've never actually lived in the same address location for more than 3 years of my life. So I've moved around a lot, but Illinois has always been home. It's where I was born. It's where I kept my home records, where I've been for the most part for the last decade. But I lived in Alaska for a while, and they get, in the dead of winter, they get cabin fever up there because sometimes, they get locked in. Same thing with the COVID. They got locked in, and it causes issues. It does.
Yes.
And troops that are in Greenland, they issue them UV lights to simulate the sun because they can't get out and get sunlight because it has an effect on you. And COVID, my goodness, Pritzker locked everyone down, but yet he went up to Wisconsin, to Lake Geneva, to take his family to go eat. He'd go over to Indiana. He went down to Florida because, whether he'll say it or not, he realized DeSantis was doing a good job during COVID.
Yeah. Well, you was in a red state zone. You saw the effects of that.
Yeah, it's all that. That's how I know all of it was cap. Like I knew this was cap, and cap for me is that, like people say, like this was fake, this was fraud, this was some BS. And every blue city and every blue state, every blue like major city, because even though Georgia was red, the state was red, the city of Atlanta was blue. was
Mm-hmm.
blue, and Governor Kemp was like, here, I'm keeping this state open. I don't give, I don't care what you guys like, stay in the house. If you feel like this is going to be dangerous or whatever, stay in the house. If you feel like you want to go outside, you want to wear a mask, wear thousands of masks. But we are a city and we have to stay open to
Yes.
continue money
And
to
Yes.
and that's the
Yeah.
keep
thing.
the city going. Like it's like gasoline in the car.
When
Yeah,
Gasoline
right.
in the car, right?
Right. So when
Yeah.
when
So
COVID happened, I was working downtown Chicago. I was the director of security at Swiss Hotel, and COVID happened. I ended up getting laid off. I was one of the last people to get laid off. We went from a staff of like 250 down to like 17. I mean, my goodness. And hospitality, normally during the summer months, everyone comes here for conventions and stuff. We'd be booked 100% like all the time. And I've seen our hotel rooms, like I say like I still work there. I've seen the hotel rooms at Swiss Hotel go upwards of over $600 a night. Well, during COVID, we were down to around 1 or 2% occupancy, and we were putting out ads on Groupon for $49 a night just to keep money coming in. I mean, getting people to not fly, to not be able to go out and eat. How many? So in America, the small business owner is the backbone of America, the American economy. We killed that, and we almost killed all the major ones. We had to bail out so many companies. Oh my goodness! So I mean, I'm sorry. I get sometimes a government needs to be protective or whatever, but there comes a point where once you become that nanny state, you start killing off with bad policy. You start killing off the economy. You start killing off people in this instance, right? So yeah, I mean, you're killing businesses. How many businesses, especially on the south side and the west side, closed down during COVID?
A lot of small business. A lot of small business. Yes, they did.
Do you remember Taurus? Do you remember Taurus over on Stony Island? That was a great sandwich shop. It caught fire, but it ended up closing down, I believe, during COVID, unless they relocated.
Yeah,
So,
it did. It definitely did. It killed. It destroyed all the small businesses in the blue states. Yeah, it took the middle class. It wiped the family, the middle class small business out.
Party is the problem why we don't have the middle class.
Yeah,
you're right. And people, the younger generation, they're complaining, oh man, the American dream is dead. No, the American dream is not dead. We just need to resuscitate it because the left has put it in a coma. You can't live the American dream. You can't be a homeowner out of college or out of school or whatever when you're paying the highest property taxes in the United States, plus the second highest gas taxes in the United States, plus the Chicago's teacher union wants another $1.5 billion to have 2/3 of your kids not be able to read and write and do math at grade level. My goodness.
Telling us the testing because we want to hold them accountable and telling us testing is white supremacist, it's racism.
And I'm sorry, but I don't know. Anywhere you go, there has to be some sort of equivalency evaluation to rank and stack people, whether it be based on merit or intellect or whatever. Heck, even the NFL, has their draft and they rack and stack people by their results. So that's not supremacy. That's just common sense. You got to figure out who's going to succeed and who needs help.
Now think about it, guys. You and you all just got to think about it. And the Democratic Party has done this. $1 billion company, because we know CTU, we know they $1 billion company. Let's just look at it like that. What company that keep people, let's just say CEO or president, would keep a person in power or in those places, and they don't have no evaluation. They're not seeing how good they're doing on their job. You're not held accountable anything. And then when they say, hey, no, you're getting millions. This CTU is a $1 billion industry. We have to, the kids can't read. We know the kids can't read. So somehow we have to look at what's going on. And then you tell your employer, no, you can't do that. You can't evaluate me because that's racism and that's white supremacy. And that's tolerated. What company allows that? And this is what the CTU, Stacey Davis Gates, Brandon Johnson, this is what they want you to accept when your kids can't even read or write. But hey, you better not say anything because that's called racism and white supremacy if you criticize them.
Right.
That's
and
what they want you to believe.
Was it yesterday, the day before, she came out and said she believes it's her job to inject politics into and not education into the schools. I'm like, are you kidding me? No, schools, the whole point is education. But if you're in going and giving politics instead of education, it's like I've been saying all along, we need education, not indoctrination. My goodness.
Yes.
We need, like I told you guys last night. Yeah. That's what it is. And you know what? That business is going to bankrupt Illinois because they're bankrupting themselves and they're bankrupting the future in our children. So we need shop back in there. We need to learn some trades in the schools. I had an automotive one I went to. I learned how to hang drywall when I was in high school. I learned how to fix cars when I was in high school. I took home ec. I told you guys last night. I sewed some sweatpants, a pillow, and made some macaroni and cheese, It taught me how to, and you see, I don't know if it's satire or not, but you see kids online like, I don't even know how to use a can opener. Well, home ec would have taught you. They need civics classes.
That's right.
Goodness. I don't want to make a broad sweeping statement, but a lot of Americans have no clue about how the government actually works or is supposed to work. In fact, Adam Schiff today misquoted Article 1 of the Constitution, and he's a sitting congressman. Right?
You'll be surprised what they do but so is city council. Don't nobody know the Constitution.
They don't know. We got lawyers in there not knowing the law, and they themselves be violating the law because they don't know the law. And so honestly, shout out to Raymond Lopez, the alderman. What ward is Raymond Lopez? 15?
15. Yeah.
14, is it 14 or 15?
Yeah, one of them.
He has to break it down, huh? He's a 15?
Well, it's 14
He's
or
15. 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Raymond Lopez. Shout out to Raymond Lopez. Well, I think it's the 15th. I'm going to say the 15th. But the 15th, he has to break it down to him, and he's not an attorney. So, it's just as a person, if you really about governing and being a public servant and doing this and my thing is everybody's not perfect, but if he can point out some shit that an attorney is supposed to know,
right?
He's an attorney.
On the campaign trail,
we're in big trouble because he comes from Southwest Airlines.
Oh, I didn't know. I mean, I know the guy. Me and him,
Southwest Airlines, and he sees the bullshit. I'm just saying. It doesn't take these law, like all these degrees and everything. My man came from Southwest Airlines to point out the bullshit, and he's the only one that does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've worked with him before because before I got into politics, he and I actually showed up at a lot of the same civil rights movement stuff together, and He's someone that actually can say that I believe is a moderate that's common sense for the most part, from what I've seen of him. And like you were saying, on the campaign trail, I've been doing this since February now, and people ask me, "Did you go to law school?" No. Well, how do you know so much? Because I read. Did you know you can sit on the Supreme Court in the United States and not even have a law degree? So that blows my mind, but it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense if you think about it.
Shout out to
Andy. I love Andy.
He's running for Attorney General.
Yep.
He broke that down to me. So 15 ward. 15.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to fancy degrees, I love it. Everyone it's like, well, Raja Krishnamurthy went to Harvard and then Yale and then Princeton, and where did you go to school? You know what? I got my degree online. I was a single parent, waiting tables, going to college at the same time. You know what? I wasn't privileged enough to go to it.
You're a
Yeah, you
single
didn't know
dad
that?
parent? Nah, talk to us about that. How was it being a single parent as a dad?
You know what? Being a single dad, it's interesting because people always think of the single mom, right? So, but I had custody of my son, and my son was on the spectrum, and so he had a hard time making friends and whatever, and he had a hard time with everything. And one of the things I tell in every campaign speech is I have a personal bone to pick with the woke left, and people are like, yeah, me too. Well, it's because Christmas Day 2019, my son comes to me and he says, hey, Dad, I got something to tell you. You promise not to kick me out of the house? And I said, well, I'm not going to kick you out of the house, bub. What's up? He said, well, Dad, I'm a trans lesbian. I said, whoa, all right. First of all, I love you. Merry Christmas. Second, I don't know what to do with that. Third, let me grab a drink. Let's sit down and talk. And we did. And as you guys know, I don't care what you do as a grown adult. You do you, whatever, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, break any laws, or violate anyone's rights. But long story short, my son ran away 2 years ago. He ran away 2 years ago because someone told him online that if you go and you live in a homeless shelter in Minnesota for 2 years, they'll pay 100% of your transition for free. So he's up there with Tampon Tim and Ilyan Omar. And I told you guys, I found out 2 weeks ago he's already had 2 surgeries done. So I hope to God none of them are permanent. But the woke left stole my only son. I want to make damn sure it doesn't happen to anyone else's kid. Keep your hands off our kids, period. Let us parent.
Yeah. And and taxpayers are paying for it. Right.
Taxpayers are paying for it. Here in Illinois, they tried to get taxpayers to pay for laser hair removal for the trans community. You know what? If that's your deal, if you want to be trans, fine. But you can pay for your own laser hair removal like everyone else. Come on. So,
but wait a minute. I heard you say that. Okay. Yeah. That if you was in a shelter. So wait a minute, hold on. Let me just get this because I'm trying to wrap my mind around what you just said. Unpack all this. So if you're in the shelter, the last thing you should be thinking about is giving someone a free surgery. Don't they need like stability and jobs and things like that, right?
That one would think, just like if you're in prison, it shouldn't be incarceration, it should be reform, right? You want to prepare someone to get back out on the street. Well, if you're in a homeless shelter, you want to prepare someone to get back in a home. Right. So that's at least my beliefs. I understand everyone needs a helping hand every now and then, right? But I want to help you up. I want to help you succeed. And that's the way we should be as a people, as a society, as a government. But we shouldn't be handing out, hey, here's some beauty tips, here's some money, come on.
So hold on. Okay, so this, and I keep telling everybody, this is what we telling you. We look at the policies. So the policies are, okay, we'll help your child transition into whatever, a lesbian, you said a lesbian trans, right?
Yeah. So a man who wants a vagina who likes women is what it took me a while. And don't even get me started on pronouns. I always use the original pronouns to keep it from getting so confusing, because it gets confusing.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Okay, a Caitlyn Jenner. Okay, so we'll help you. So you're homeless, you're in a shelter. We are spending taxpayer money on helping you become, with surgeries, but when you transition or when you have your surgery, now you're going to go back to the shelter because we didn't give you no psychological help. We didn't give you anything to make you self-sufficient to be able to make money for yourself and take care of yourself. So how does that work? The policies don't even make sense to me.
Right. And they wonder why states are going bankrupt. Minnesota, it's a blue state. It's going bankrupt. Illinois, I don't like to say it's a blue state, but it's run by blue people, right? Mm-hmm. It's going bankrupt. everything that the left takes control over, and like it strangles. I don't know if you guys remember that Bugs Bunny cartoon back in the day. Oh, he's my little George. Oh, I love him. And I don't know if that's what they think they're doing, or if they're just wanting to line their pockets or what. But yeah, I mean, we can do better. We can do better. You got people who've been in office 40 some odd years. And if you're voting for someone in office, what's that?
No, I'm saying we definitely could do better. Like we definitely
Oh, yeah.
could do better. It don't make any sense. Like I was saying yesterday when you was talking about that, I was like, so if a person, so does a cancer patient gotta run to the shelter to get cancer
Right.
treatment?
Oh God.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
That's
Well,
a good one, Zoe.
Well, yeah, back in the day, people would go to jail so they could go and get their cancer treatment. So yeah, because but they're starting to. I've heard that they'll deny them that now if they're intentionally trying to break the law to go to jail for. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's the same vein, right? You're going to go and go to a homeless shelter, but not to seek help to be homeless. Not to seek help to get back on your feet, but to seek help to transition.
I just got third stage cancer, and I can't afford because I can't work. You understand? I can't work because I have third stage cancer, and I need these bills paid, and I need to get cured, and I don't have the money. So do I got to run to the shelter because y'all are doing trans surgeries?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You're right. If nothing else, that money could be better spent on helping medical issues for underprivileged communities.
Buying all the amoxicillin for the COVID vaccine that we just needed, because that's what I use.
Yeah, how many billions was on that?
I got COVID twice. I went to the emergency room. And I told them niggas I need an antibiotic. Okay. And they gave me the antibiotic, amoxicillin. Remember back in the day, the kids used to drink the pink stuff?
Yeah.
The kids the pink stuff. And you could have gave us the amoxicillin vaccine. But that cured COVID for me twice.
I was one of the. You guys don't know this, but I was one of the first. At least they told me I was one of the first 200 people in America to catch COVID. So I was one of the first, and it was before masks, before vaccines, before everything. And I ended up in the hospital almost dying. I went to the hospital, and they turned me away because they're like, "We don't want it in here." And I was like, "What?" And finally, they let me in, and they kept me in the hospital for I don't remember how many days. But then they're like, yeah, by the way, you were going septic. Your organs were shutting down and this, that, and the other. I'm like, what? And so, yeah, here's antibiotics and steroids. And that's what they gave me, antibiotics and steroids. And it worked. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had it for a while. I was in the long haul, but it worked. And, yeah,
But speaking about that, how do you feel about the mandatory making our kids have to be vaccinated to go to schools and things like that? How do you feel about that?
And that's a double-edged sword because I do have a little bit of background in that stuff. I went to school not only for business but also for molecular cellular developmental biology. So there are some things that are needed, but when it comes to the COVID one, my goodness, the COVID vaccine was so rushed, so hurried. There was no real research in it, but they're like, yeah, it's mandatory. We got to do this. I don't agree with that. Like when I was in the military, they made us take the anthrax vaccine. It wasn't approved for humans. It was approved for horses. So I had hair until then, just so you know. But, so I don't approve of that. But like the polio vaccine, it was one of the first vaccines, and we almost eradicated polio. Like 99% of it's been eradicated. I'm all for that, but when it comes to like RFK Jr. says, the amount of vaccines that we force on our kids and the schedule that we have is too compressed and too overwhelming for their young little bodies. So,
okay.
So, yeah. I believe parents should also have a say in things too. So I believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So yeah, there was a famous case back in the 80s where they arrested Amish fathers because they refused to vaccinate their kids to go to public school.
Mhm.
So I believe that there's a fine line because otherwise we don't need a measles epidemic or something like that. Herd immunity goes, away after I think it drops below 80% vaccination or 85% vaccination. But that doesn't mean that we should ignore it, but it doesn't mean we should mandate it either. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah. So I think that there's like I said, a fine line. I can't wait to see what RFK comes out with because you know what? I trust a lot of what he's saying and doing. I really
Me
do.
too.
And he's really trying to make America healthier again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I believe it or not, I was actually pretty good in shape before COVID. I ran the Chicago Marathon. So and now I'm just COVID made me chunky. So
Yeah, sitting down. Yeah, it did. Everybody, a lot of people, it did.
yeah, I mean, the only thing there was you had to get your groceries delivered half the time, the food delivered, and yeah, it was. You didn't get out and get your steps in, and yeah, it was. Unless you had a Peloton, Peloton boomed back then. Remember Peloton? So
Hmm. Now
yeah,
let me ask you a
Peloton did
question.
move.
Yeah,
Everywhere
it
you
moved.
go.
Let,
Peloton had commercials.
uh, let me ask you a question to a couple, then I'll let y'all. Now,
yeah.
it's two, but okay, Doge. So
I
we
love those.
me okay, so you support because you
Oh yeah.
know our fight is what we're calling for, what we've been demanding is a forensic audit on all of the CTU, the COVID money. Basically a Doge here in Chicago, Illinois. How do you feel about that?
I feel personally, as a United States Senator, and this won't be popular with the establishment, but I don't seem to be popular with the establishment anyway. I told you guys about that last night too.
Mhm.
I think it needs to be federally mandated that each state needs to have its own Doge to report back to be able to receive federal funds. And
Mhm.
I think that it should be tracked and managed where every single penny of every single, federal dollar goes and how it's spent,
Mhm.
period. And each state, like I said, needs to have their own Doge to make sure that they're spending the federal tax dollars and the state's tax dollars well, you know, and
Mhm.
that's my personal opinion. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of the establishment won't like that because I'm sure a lot of that money goes into pockets or goes to pet causes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of paying stuff like laser hair removal and what was some of the stuff uh, gender fluidity in Uganda or whatever.
Right.
I those are pet costs, and people don't understand. We're $37 trillion in debt. People don't
Wow.
understand how much money that is. So yeah, I mean, if you had a stack of $100 bills, a pallet of it, about two pallets of it would stacked as high as you are be about $1 billion. But a trillion, that'd fill up your entire apartment with pallets and
Yes.
more and
Yes.
more, double
Yes.
stacked. And
Yes.
and we got 37 trillion there. So that's like in a whole apartment building, just full $100 bills stacked neatly all the way up. That's a lot of money. And
Yes.
I tell people, all right, people don't understand. And I said, well, I'll break it down to you pretty simple. All right. We have debt, yes. And sometimes debt is a good thing. You can leverage debt. You can have good debt, but we have too much. And think of it like this. You've heard of home equity loans, right? If someone owns a car, they
Mhm.
can take, or not a car, a house, they can take out a home equity loan, right? And they
Mhm.
can use that debt to leverage and make some money improvements or whatever and improve upon their home, make it worth more. Well, that's kind of what we started doing originally, but we've taken out as America, as our home, we've taken out 15, 16, 17 home equity loans and mortgages coming due, and we're looking for pennies in the couch. So,
Right.
and
Right.
that's the easiest way I can explain it to people because
Oh,
it's a lot of money. And people ask about the tariffs. How do you feel about the tariff? You know what? The tariffs, people think that it'd be passed on the consumer, and some of it probably will be, but for the most part,
it
those
won't.
places, yeah, for the most part, those places, other countries, they're gonna. If you look how many billions of dollars have been injected, we cut our deficit in we just
Trillions of
last
dollars.
Yeah.
Surplus. Yup. A
So
surplus.
yeah,
Yup. Let me ask you this,
yeah.
and then I'll be and then I'm gonna let Zoe if she have
No,
anything, and then
I
I'll
like
just
that.
ask you.
No, I like that. I like that. I like that. I
Yeah,
like that. I like that. Daddy.
let me ask you this. So that's transparency because that's a weird demand thing. Also, let me say this. Let me ask you this. Okay, so you know that, and this is not. This is just the obvious.
Yep.
In Chicago, the South and West Side, the money that was supposed to go to our communities, that
You
was
got
supposed
robbed.
to go to us, never went to us, never did, never got to us. And you see the communities, you see what our communities look like. What do how do you feel about that? What do you see that you can do to help that? What would be your, what would you do if we came to you and said, hey, this
Yeah.
is what's going on in our community. The money hasn't gotten to us, what was supposed to go to us, things like that, tip money, the invest South and West Side, those things. What would you do?
So
How would you talk
so I'm gonna, as I told you guys last night, I can relate to the South Side and the West Side, unlike any other candidate that's come before me and any other candidate that's running right now. And I can do it in 2 words. And I say it half jokingly, but it's serious too. And I'm throwing it out there on a podcast. So if any of my competitors steal it, they know it's stolen. I can actually attest to it. All right. Because I've been telling you guys and people for months. All right. The South Side, the Jim Shoe sandwich. You think Dick Durbin? You think Raja? You think any of them gone down there and ordered a Jim Shoe sandwich? I have. You think on the West Side that either of them have or any of my competitors on the right even have had a Weissler burger?
So
No.
it's called a Weissler burger on the West Side. I never heard.
You know what? You'll know a Weissler burger. All right, it's a double Euro cheeseburger. Yeah, and so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, I know what it is. I can tell you things
Yeah.
on a gym shoe too. I love a good gym shoe. I can tell you where to get the best gym shoe on the South Side. But so aside from that, trying to say, hey, yeah, I've been in the communities. I've been working with these communities for months, if not years now, and I can relate and I understand. I saw that the promises that were made and not kept. I saw the schools shut down. I saw the economies and the businesses boarded up. So to me, all right, one, we need to re-inject some enthusiasm, because I'm sure everyone feels lied to and robbed right now. Some enthusiasm, but then we need to go and we need to spend time, one, reinvesting our own selves in these communities. As I told you, I'm not even going to say if, I'm going to say when I win. I want to open up offices in the communities and have local people, mentored and take over these offices, because I want to get back, and who better to relate to the community than those communities? I told you last night too. The Trump wants to build the crypto reserve. We have the infrastructure in Chicago. We have it on the South Side. Why not build it there with the infrastructure already there, and have that local community be part of the project?
The jobs.
Why not bring the jobs? We need to create more things with trades on the South Side and the West Side. People want actually to learn. Frederick Douglass, and I'm sure you guys know who Frederick Douglass is, but I'm gonna explain it for anyone who's watching who doesn't. He was he was a slave who ran away and actually became a United States senator as a Republican in the North, and he helped with Lincoln, and he told Lincoln. I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not going to use the exact words he did. But he said, the African American community doesn't need a handout. What's that? All right.
Freedman.
We'll say that one. We'll say freedman. Yes. The free man doesn't need a handout. The free man needs an opportunity. And that is what needs to be given, the opportunities. And that's all I've been speaking about is everywhere. We need to provide the opportunities. The American dream isn't dead. It just needs to be resuscitated with those opportunities. And I had someone tell me the other day, man, I can't buy a house. I'll never be able to buy it. I said, you can. It's harder now. It really is. It's harder. But anything is possible. The American dream is still out there. You just have to find the opportunity and seize it. And if those opportunities are provided for you, it makes it so much easier. So much easier. So yeah, on the south side, the west side, we need trades. We need to reinvest in the schools. We need to reinvest in the businesses. We need to reinvest in the communities because they've been largely overlooked since COVID. The entire
I'm born in '86. I'm born in the suburbs. I mean, I lived in the suburbs, but my mother did not want me to ever live in the city because how the city looks. However, it's been overlooked since I was. My mother used to go down there, and I seen it. I mean, when I used to go down there and visit, you know, my aunt or visit friends or my babysitter. Shout out to Aunt Gladys. Going through that hood, when I was young, it was messed up. So I don't think it's just since COVID. It's been like that since I was young.
Danny dip out?
Oh. Her thing she'll probably come back.
All right. Well, you know what? And here's the problem with that too, is a lot of the same people have been in positions of power since you were young. Dick Durbin has been in federal office since I was 2. My goodness. The south side and the west side, I mean, Jesse Jackson has always been big on helping people. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure he has helped some, but what has he done? All right, what has he done lately? Wasn't that a Janet Jackson song?
Nothing. He a piece of shit.
So in fact,
you know what the thing is? I think what people need to understand is white people are allowed to say that he didn't do shit for us. I realize that we as Black Americans, we get offended if white people call out the bullshit, but we're allowed to call out the bullshit when it comes to white people, which is insane. You understand? But I appreciate you saying that because yes, he hasn't done a motherfucking thing for the Black community. That's why I have this book that I cannot wait to read. I special delivery to Shakedown, so I really can get in on the bull, really get in. But yes, you're absolutely right. I don't want you to ever be afraid to say that again because we're going to have to understand the uncomfortable truth. And the uncomfortable truth is that our communities still look the way they look because our Black heroes or our leaders or whatever we want to call them, they only looked out for themselves.
So that's one thing I've never understood is when a politician or a businessman on the right who is of African American descent, a Black man or Black woman for that matter, becomes a success, why does the Black community tear them down verbally? Why don't they say, hey, how did you do that? Let me continue, or let me do that too. Let me ride your coattails. Teach me how you did that or whatever. Jesse Jackson may be an exception because he did originally help out a little with that Rainbow Coalition of his, right? But that's been a long time.
It's some bullshit too, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
No, fair enough.
Anything affiliated with that man is bullshit. There's not.
Well, I would say the same with Al Sharpton too, but yeah. So yeah, the south side, the west side of the communities have been largely going and doing the same thing over and over again, and they haven't gotten any different result. And you know, I'll call out bullshit where I see it. And the thing is I'm not a politician. I'm not. I'm a guy running for office who wants to be a public servant because I was asked. I was asked to because I did the right thing, and I'm going to continue to do the right thing. So for anyone who doesn't know, my little background story is I moved to Chicagoland last February for, like I said, second or third time, and I saw what was going on the college campuses. I fought it overseas as an Afghanistan vet. I'll fight it here. I got the encampments, me and some buddies. I didn't do it alone. Me and some buddies got the encampments at DePaul University cleared out with the pro-Hamas, pro-terror stuff, right? So with that, I was put on page 3 of the Chicago Tribune. I still have the picture. I saved it. The digital, I lost the paper copy. But afterwards, a lot of the Jewish community in Lake and Cook County came to me and said, hey, the left's abandoned us. I would think the South and West Side should feel the same. They said, we feel politically homeless. they're letting all this hate and anti-Semitism run rampant. And, but we saw what you did. We trust you. Can you run? Sure. I never wanted to be a politician. I still don't want to be a politician, but I'm a man of my word. I'm going to run no matter what, win or lose. I kept my word. And you know what? I give my number out everywhere, everywhere. My number's on my website. My number's on my business card. I tell people to call me. How can I legislate if I don't know what you need, if you want, what you care about? Someone the other night called me at 11:30. I told you, Trump just bombed Iran. I'm like, thanks for letting me know. I appreciate your call. Personally, I support it, but I'm not voting for it. Well, I appreciate your call nonetheless. Thank you. So, you know what? I am who I am. Love me or hate me. I'm not going to change. I'm always going to do the right thing, and I'm always going to try and help people. Like I said, I've been involved in civil rights stuff. I've been involved in the South Side and the West Side community and the North Side with the Jewish community as well. I always try and I believe, maybe I'm too altruistic, but I believe the world can be healed one good act at a time. That whole pay it forward thing. And you know what? If I can make someone's day, if I can make them happy, and I can do something good, I'll go out of my way to do it, because we need more positivity in this world, not negativity. And that's all you see on the news anymore is just negativity. It's horrible. So.
My thing with the Palestine and Israel thing is I feel like they both on bullshit. And I feel like that we are taking sides when at the end of the day it's three sides to a story. It's the Israel side, the Jewish side, it's the Palestinian side, and then it's the truth. But I think people have an issue with is that the government only spending money on one side. And I feel like that is unfair because that just happened with us, with the illegal immigrants coming over to our community, coming over here. The Democratic Party, Biden administration sent 20 million illegal aliens here with money and put 50,000 of them in our community. And if we spoke about it or talked about it, we were either ignored, we couldn't get any media. The only reason why Chicago is red and how we're where we are now is because we were down there at City Hall on a consistent basis. Miss Jessica and I were really down there on a consistent basis. George Blakemore, you have Michael Young Bay, but at the end of the day, even with Silverstein, Deborah Silverstein, I feel like she's the 50th Ward Alderman. She's the only Jewish alderman down there. I respect her, and I respect her and I don't even like her, but I respect her politics. I respect how she takes care of her base, which we have 20 weeks. It's one Jewish alderman down there that could take care of her base when it's 20 no good all black aldermen who can't do shit. So so that's why I said I definitely respect it for that. And then you have somebody with the Hispanic KKK that went crazy for Palestine, but there was nobody that went off about the illegal immigration scam, the New Americans plan that Rahm Emanuel did, and that messed up Black America. So I mean, Black Chicago, the South Side and the West Side, by putting them in our community. So I feel like everybody has ignored that issue and have went to the Palestine and Israel issue. And my thing is, we're not over there. We really don't know the story. We hear bits and pieces, but none of us have went over there. Nobody, we really don't know what the fuck is going on. We're hearing it from the fake news. We're hearing it from people on one side that on the Palestinian side is saying they're not getting nothing. You're hearing from the Israel side. You're hearing United Nations saying that. I mean, the United States saying that what we gave the United Nations money to give Palestine food, and they're still getting starved. However, we have our tax dollar is going to weapons for Israel. And then we're dealing with people in our community right here in the city of Chicago that are being displaced every day. So I really don't I'm not really understanding how people, they're not saying you, but it's really not understanding how we're going crazy. Even some of my friends I stopped talking to because they felt some type of way like, oh, what they're doing in Palestine. I was like, I get that free Palestine, but free the South Side, free the West Side, free these niggas for paying, set up my case for knocking down my building. So I just don't. So that's just like the only thing I don't get is how we will forget about. Because the South Side and West Side pay the same tax dollars as everybody else, and the money is going to weapons to go to Israel, but we need help in our communities.
Well, the Israel Palestine thing, I could give a whole TED talk on that one, but that's a whole nother story. And I have my opinions, and I can, if you want offline, we can go and talk about that too. But to your point, the South Side and the West Side largely has been ignored by our local and state and federal politicians. And in my personal opinion, there's no reason why you can't care about two different demographics. That's, again, call me altruistic or naive or whatever, but I can give a shit about the South Side and the West Side and the North Shore. Come on. And the farmers downstate. So like I told you,
we gotta care about all of them. But I'm saying, as far as when people get into talking about the war, my thing is, I get it, but people have to see all sides of what's going on. The solution is not happening. Like, they've been talking about this war since the Bible. You understand? So, and I get October 7th in that situation. And I get it. Hurricane Katrina, same thing. People forgot about Hurricane. New Orleans is not the same, hasn't been the same since. However, we had a fucked up mayor. They had a fucked up mayor in Hurricane Katrina, and maybe in about a couple of years later, because he was stealing so much money that he ended up going to jail. So it'd be half the time it'd be.
That's true. Now I could go off on.
Yeah.
I could go off on Katrina too. My old man was down there for Katrina. He still lives down on the Gulf Coast. He had to evacuate. So Katrina. Oh my goodness. New Orleans and Louisiana as a whole, they mishandled that incredibly.
They did, but we had a terrible. I will say, and I say this all the time. We had a terrible president at that time. George Bush Jr. was everything that what they say in Trump is. George Bush Jr. was, George Bush Sr. was cool, but he had a dumbass son. And that's just what it is. So and that didn't help it either. So now that we have, that even though they're trying to say he's like this.
Speaking of, I don't know if you saw this one. I saw this one yesterday, I think it was. Tulsi Gabbard, which I will openly admit I've liked since she was a Democrat. There's a handful of Democrats I can say I think are good Democrats. And she was one of them, and now she's one of us. And I think the others will come our way soon. But she released information within the last couple of days that Clapper not only did the Russian hoax thing, but he also did the intel for the weapons of mass destruction that we were supposed to be looking for. So everyone always asked my opinion whenever I was in the military about the Afghanistan war and the Iraq war. And this may not be a popular opinion, but this is the opinion I always gave. I said, Iraq war, he was just trying to finish his daddy's war. The Afghanistan war, they attacked us first. We got them back. And you know what? I was over there. I saw bodies loading on the plane almost daily. When I was flying out, my plane had to go and dip into a hot zone and do an evac, and I had to hold the bag while the guy had his leg sitting on his chest. And so I can honestly say that we were doing something there in Afghanistan, and we learned after World War I that if you don't do anything, that will collapse into a power vacuum, and we'll end up getting like a Hitler again, right? Hitler raised to power and tried to take over the world, whatever. But it was because we didn't stay and help stabilize and build infrastructure and whatnot. And we were trying to do that in Afghanistan. There was a lot of resistance, but we were trying, and we were slowly winning hearts and minds. But if we were going to pull out, which I don't agree with, because all those people died in vain, But if we're going to pull out, should not have been like it was. It was totally mishandled, and it caused at least 13 deaths that shouldn't have happened, and I would argue hundreds more. So,
how do you feel? You are a veteran. Like, so what? How do you feel like now? Like, do you feel like veterans are getting everything that they should get from the government because you guys did risk your life?
And
I want to say thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. I used to joke once upon a time ago, let me turn the iPad around. I take tips, but I never know what to say when someone says thank you for my service, because I did it because I guess I'm a patriot. I truly believe in our country and our Constitution. And like I tell people, I have "We the People" tattooed right here. I'm running as a Republican. I've always voted Republican, but I believe in "We the People," not "We the Party." So I believe I should represent everyone. That being said, you asked about the VA. Man, I went down to Jesse Brown in March with an abscess on my tooth, and they told me to come back in July to get it fixed. I went back. They fixed it.
I've seen it too. They told you to come back.
Yep. And so,
but
yeah, and now,
okay.
Yeah, they told me to come back in October now to get the crown put on. So now I got like this temporary thing with a hole in it. Anyway, I'm glad there's a VA. I'm glad there's a VA. Lincoln said, if you send them off the war, take care of them when they come back. I am glad there's a VA. At least we have something. But we can do better. Like I said earlier, 22 to 44 veterans a day commit suicide. And it's because, one, they don't know they have the mental illness, or the resources aren't there, or they try to self-medicate because they, or whatever. But we can do better. We can do better. And I actually like this new secretary of the VA that they got going on. He's actually very pro-veteran, where I can say some have not been. So I hope that in the next coming years, things can be better for veterans and veteran care. And from what I've seen, most of the veteran care that is lax isn't so much like North Chicago or out in the south, but it's the Jesse Brown, and it's the Hines, and it's where the inner city veterans are, and most of the inner city veterans are people of color, and they're being affected more and getting, I think, less care than what is available elsewhere.
So how many VAs hospitals are in Illinois or Chicago or the Cook County area? Do you know?
Oh my goodness! So in Cook County, so hospitals. We have Jesse Brown, we have Hines, and they're two huge hospitals. And they're both like in Chicago. In Cook County, we have clinics that have some like primary care doctors and some like a little bit of specialty stuff here and there, but not everything. And they're scattered out. We probably have at least a half dozen more of those. Then North Chicago has another VA hospital, and it's like paradise for a veteran up there. It's a beautiful hospital. And then so you got one up there for the North Shore, and then the Great Lakes area. And then you got the ones here, and then I think Rockford and Peoria probably have ones as well. When I would live downstate, mine was supposed to be the St. Louis one. Again, inner city, they get ignored, and the St. Louis one was horrible. And so I would drive down to a 2-hour drive to Marion, to a little small in the middle of nowhere country VA, because I can get better service, and I can get in like the same week instead of waiting months for service. And I think that that's one of the bigger problems is again, the VA in outside of the inner cities takes care of the veterans reasonably well, I believe. But the inner city ones, and people who, for veterans, specifically veterans of color, their service is lacking because there's so much infrastructure and administration and not enough service, in my opinion. So,
okay, yeah, because I feel like, honestly, veterans children, elders, and people with disabilities
Those are
should be
my
the only ones that we really should be relying on, that should be relying on government services.
what? Yeah, and like I said, every now and then everyone needs a helping hand. I get it. I've been there.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I feel like no, but I feel like with Trump, well, what this administration is doing with the 2 years
oh, I
giving,
can't wait. I can't
that,
wait to
but
see.
yeah, the 2 years, and then even 2 years with like SNAP. I feel like get until you get yourself together. But I feel like for government services, like to really rely on it, people who are disabled, and I think a lot of people think disability is physical. You can have physical, but there's a lot of people who are mentally
You're right.
disabled.
You're right.
And so just because we're sitting talking and everything is fine does not mean that we're not mentally. I mean, you're dealing with people that every day you think that they're okay, then one day they go into their workspace and shoot it up, go into the school and shoot it up. Clearly, they're mentally disabled, mentally ill, and the issue is we don't have enough. We don't spend enough money. We have a lot of money in public health, but we don't have a lot of money that deals with psychiatrists, psychology. It's got psychiatry, psychology, and therapy. And people who literally go to school for these two, like you say, you have PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. And PTSD is a very serious diagnosis that a lot of veterans have, a lot of Black people have, because of what we've dealt with in our communities. And there's not enough money that's being put into PTSD to figure out if there ever could be a cure, or if this may be a person that's going to need a long time therapy and whatever else, if it has to be some type of medication or even whatever it has to be for mental health, because once you lose your mind, you lose everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was at an event a couple weeks ago, and Gigi Gavin, I think she's in the 40th ward. Yeah, she's in the 40th. She brought up a great point. The money that we've gone and put towards a safety act, we could have created like luxury Mar-a-Lago mental institutions all across the country to help with the mental health epidemic going on. And so, yeah, the money that's wasted in the government, as opposed to finding solutions, they go and they find ways to become more popular, to fund themselves, or to make themselves look better. Like I said, the purpose of the Safety Act was to make it look like we don't have mental health issues in Illinois, as opposed to addressing them. So ignoring it is not a solution. Covering up is not a solution. We need a solution. And I think that's a lot of what's going on, or has gone on for a long time on the South and the West side, is they ignored it, but they kept saying, we're going to give you a solution, but they ignored it. But then when the illegals came and they started giving them, $3-4 grand a month, they put them up in hotels. All the money that we spent on them with hotels, holy cow, we could have solved poverty in the South side and the West side. Are you kidding me? I mean, what family, I'm not saying we should do it, but what family couldn't use another 3-4 grand a month, So,
after what they took us with COVID, no family, and I say all families, and and I always say this, when it comes to COVID, not one person in the government gave a fuck about them kids.
No.
There was kids who did not, they didn't, and I say this when it comes to the 94 crime bill too, because those kids that had to deal with the crack epidemic and seeing their family, the trauma that they dealt with and all that stuff. And of course, they're not giving us mental health, any type of mental health resources back then or whatever. All those kids should have been qualified to get a free education. Just like with COVID, COVID,
Right.
you put them kids had to do a drive-through graduation. Some had
Yeah.
to, they missed their prom. You know, they did a whole bunch of stuff. Not one time have we given them children anything. They fucked up. My goddaughter, prime example, I love her to death. You know, she worked hard to graduate, go to prom. You know, her last year she was trying to do whatever to get to where she, you know, to make sure she passed. And
Yep.
all that. She missed her prom, missed her graduation. You know, a year later, 2 years later, she get pregnant. Imagine life, and I love my guy grandchild. However, what if the government would have did right if they really if this pandemic was really that serious and this COVID was really how they said it was, on due diligence, they would have made sure these kids would have gotten educated, would have been able to get a free education without worrying about taking out any loans.
Well, I remember during COVID, my neighbor across the street, their kid had their 16th birthday party, and it wasn't a party. They put up a sign that said "Happy Birthday" in the yard, and then everyone drove by honking for like a half an hour. And I'm sure it was very meaningful to the kid, but in the end, is that how a kid should spend their 16th birthday? Most kids are excited, want to go down to the DMV, which was closed, to get their driver's license, you know, or you know, have their sweet 16 birthday party. Prom, the same. At graduation, I totally forgot about the drive-through graduations. I'm glad you reminded me, because I had forgotten. Yeah, I think that we owe a lot of people, and my goodness, again, back in Illinois, 2 out of every 3 kids can't read, write, or do math at grade level. We owe a lot of people a lot more education than what we've offered them. So we need to get back to basics. We need to, as I told you, Trump says make America great again. I want to make Illinois normal again. It's a lower bar here. We can make it great, but we got to get back to normal first. So
no, you're right.
So
what about this deficit that we're dealing with? These property tax, the deficit that we're dealing with Chicago, the deficit that we're dealing with Illinois, the pension deficit, the property taxes issue. We're losing people in Illinois. What do you think of that? What do you feel like is a solution? What do you think, as you running for U.S. Senator, how can you help to contribute to make Chicago, Illinois great again?
So
better again.
It's a federal seat. It's a federal seat, but it has one down ticket and full statewide implications. So I tell people, one, this seat right now, it's a once in a generation opportunity. Dick Durbin stepped down. It's an open seat. That seat hadn't been open for 26 years or something like that, since '98. So we need a candidate that, one, can unite and not divide. We need a candidate that can go and actually build back hope and invigorate things here in Illinois again. We need the same for the governorship. For the governor's seat, those are the 2 key places right now. We need to flip red. And once we flip that red, everything else can follow, both legislation-wise and with those seats. Because I hate to say it, Illinois has been voting blue for so long. It is. We're getting in a stranglehold, and people keep voting for the same thing. The taxes we're the worst or second worst in the nation right now. And those who don't follow, I plug wire points everywhere. Follow wire points. Ted Dabrowski puts up, and his gang all over there put up great figures, so you can understand the fiscal trouble that we're in Illinois. Our Illinois pension fund is the worst in the nation. It's only 25% funded right now because they beg, borrow, and steal from it, just like they do with Social Security. So I hate to say it, but a lot of people are going to end up having to go and take a hit, and there's going to have to be some pension reform here in order to get the budget straight. There is. And then it's going to have to go and be privately invested as opposed to being, the public fund as it is right now. And we're going to have to bankrupt the pension fund and start there. Once we do that, we can start actually trying to pull back some of the taxes. I hope we have politicians in office that are honest enough to want to do that. Brandon Johnson, he says, "Oh, I don't want to raise property taxes," but now today he's like, "Well, to cover the deficit, we're going to have to raise taxes." All right, well, what are you going to raise it on? You're taxing everyone, and then you want to say tax the rich. Don't get me wrong, the rich they need to pay their fair share, but their fair share is a lot because the rich create jobs too. I know a lot of people don't like anymore the trickle down economics because they don't believe in capitalism or socialism. But the thing is we are a capitalist country. So if we have someone who creates a business, they have to go and they have to have employees. Those employees get paid. So those are more tax dollars coming out. Ken Griffin cost when he left because of Pritzker and the state legislature here with their taxes, he cost Illinois billions when we lost Pritzker, or not Pritzker, Ken Griffin. All the other wealthy are leaving to go to other states where their businesses are more affordable and their living standards are more affordable. And so now the burden is now more on the working class, and the middle class is shrinking because there's no one here with the trickle down economics to help absorb that pain. And we need to get back. The billionaires are fleeing Illinois. They are. Yeah. We need to get billionaires back. We need to get businesses back. We need to get millionaires back. And we need, whether it be small businesses or big businesses, we need to go and we need to get people back creating jobs so the rest of the state can thrive. My goodness. So that's the only way we're going to end up helping the deficit in the budget here in Illinois is the pension plan, and then getting people coming back, making Illinois more attractive for businesses and for people to come here to create jobs and opportunities, as opposed to passing people to death where they're like, "Hey, I'm going to leave." And just so you guys know, Pritzker, if you're listening to this, all right, you're taxing people so they're leaving. All right. So you're making it to where the people who can afford your taxes are going, and you're strangling everyone else. My goodness. And you want to add a mileage tax? No one can afford that. You want to charge me $1.50 every time I get a pizza or an Amazon delivery now? The average Joe cannot afford that. I know, because I am the average Joe. I live off my veterans pension. That's it. I'm not a politician. I don't take a salary from this. Hopefully at some point I can afford to take a little salary, like $1,000 a month or something, while running. Yeah. But I can't. But I don't. I pay for everything, almost everything, out of pocket. I'm running because I gave my word, and I actually want to affect change. I tell people I'm what the founding fathers wanted. I'm an average Joe. I want 2 terms, and I want to go back to my dogs. I'm happy and content, propping my feet up, watching ESPN with a beer in my hand with my dog. You got? I'm used to saying dogs. I had to put one down last week. He got paralyzed from the neck down from a neurological disorder, so I have a dog left. He's a fluffy Frenchie. His name's Bougie.
Okay, Bougie. Shout out to Bougie. So.
Oh, what did Midwest Millennial say? I'm sorry, I didn't read it when it popped up.
Shout out to my man Dustin. He says going to even lower now when the legislation puts are signed. Tribune reports is approximately 18% funded.
Huh. So it's not even 25% funded. It's only 18% funded. That's great. So, all right, to put this in perspective, all right, let's say this. Let's put it in in everyday terms for people. You got a car payment, right? The car payment is what gets you to work and what helps everything. What happens if you only got 18% of your car payment? That's not good. Sooner or later, someone's going to come and take your car. Well, what happens with our pension fund? Well, we're going to have to default on it. So I'm sorry, and it's going to have to get bankrupt because we don't have the money to keep paying it. And so That's what's going to happen is we're going to end up having to repo those pensions eventually. I'm sorry, because we can't pay it. It needs to be restructured. I understand that it sucks, but some people are getting like $300,000 a year pensions. That's insane to me. I don't even get $50,000 a year. So come on. $300,000 a year, you're living high on the hog. You're living up in your ivory tower while telling the rest of us to go and pay taxes to pay 18% of your pension. Come on, be real. I'm sorry. Oh,
that's true. So,
and you know what? The Chicago Teachers Union, if they weren't corrupt,
how you
and
feel
if they,
about the Chicago Teachers Union?
oh my goodness, they're so corrupt, and they're more like a mafia. Them and the NEA. I'm sorry. Now, if I'm against public unions just because of that. Private unions, all right, I'm all for trade unions. You know, I'm all for but if you're going in and you're so corrupt, your billions of dollars are coming in. You're making $250,000 a year, but you can't pay your water bill. She owes what, like $2,500 for her water because she didn't pay it. That's a lot of water too. I'm just saying. Yeah. So, yeah, they the Chicago's teacher union. I'm sorry, if they were to actually represent teachers as employees and as opposed to forcing ideologies and adding corruption to our state, I could be for them, but they're not. So, I mean, yeah, I've talked with the Teamsters, I've talked with labor unions, all cool, but yeah, those aren't. Hamilton and Clay. Let's see, economics system follow the president. Great. Any thoughts? Yeah. So I'm vaguely familiar with it, and yeah, I'm not against it. I think that right now it's in the early stages. I withhold judgment until I see how everything plays out, and that's one thing I don't like it. The American populace does with Trump. A lot of everything they do with him is a knee-jerk reaction, but he likes to see things big picture and do things big picture. He plays the long game. So personally, I think that a lot of the stuff he does long term ends up rather well, and I think that this will as well. So I'm not opposed to it. No. And you know what? I believe honestly, if he goes and recreate something like that, but still needs to tweak it a little bit to make it better, then by all means, let's tweak it, make it better. Let's make it the best we can, because yeah, he wants to make America great again, and that will have impact on Illinois. Whether we have red, white, or blue, whatever, sitting in office, still federal policy will affect state policy one way or another. So he can withhold federal dollars, he can charge extra taxes, whatever. He's going to make America's economy boom again, and it's already doing pretty well right now, I believe, with the exception of the leftovers from the Biden administration. I don't know if everyone saw the graph that the Democratic Party tried to put up. Was it like 2 weeks ago, where it said, "Oh, the inflation," and they tried to blame Trump, but it had the years, and it was entirely Biden's office. The inflation was like, woo, and they took it down. Yeah. More your policies on running on. All right, so
thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, so policies I'm running on. Everyone asked me my top three, and I think I said this earlier. If I did, forgive me for repeating it. I believe in the generation that came before me. I believe that we need to. They set me up for success. I'm sure most people's parents tried to set them up for success, right? So I want to go and be able to take care of my parents, and my grandparents have passed, but I know other people's grandparents as well, right? We need to take care of the generation that came before us. Social Security, we need to keep politicians' hands off it. It was originally set up in a trust. During the Vietnam War, LBJ took it out of a trust and made it a piggy bank. And that's why Social Security is underfunded and is just this big, huge money laundering thieving scheme. We need to put it back in a trust, build it back up, and probably need to reform it a little to save it, to take care of the generation that came before us. I care about veterans. I am a veteran, and I believe that we need to take care of the generation that sacrificed for us, right? Like I said, I waited like 3-4 months to have an abscess tooth look at. we can do better. I'm glad there's a VA, but we can do better. And I believe that we need to, again, not quoting an 80s song, I believe that the children are our future, but the future looks bleak. All right. We need to get back to basics with our kids. We need education, not indoctrination. We need to keep ideologies out of the classroom. We need to go back and teach math. We need to teach writing. We need to teach arithmetic, well, math and arithmetic, reading, writing, arithmetic. We need to teach shop again, civics, basic economy and finances, home ec, auto shop. I mean, those are the stuff that I took, and I'm not saying I turned out perfect, but I like to think I turned out all right. We need to keep the fringe stuff out of the classroom. Keep your hands off our kids. Let parents parent. All right. I don't care what your faith is. I don't care what your political belief is. That's my job as a parent to teach my kid that. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. I don't care. You do you. But it's my job as a parent to teach my kid that. I remember my first sex ed class, my mom would not let me, instead of opting out, we had to opt in. And my mom wouldn't opt in. It was like 7th or 8th grade. And she's like, you're too young to, and everyone was talking about vulvas and stuff afterwards. I'm like, what's that? Because I missed out. But yeah, we need to get back to basics with our kids. And I hate to say this, one of the worst programs that we've ever implemented was by George W. was No Child Left Behind. We need to repeal that. We need, again, if we're going to do stuff based on merit, we need to hold people accountable. Let's get real. Are you prepared for the Marxists to try and run your life and turn it inside out? Yeah, so they've already tried. They've called me a bad parent, a transphobic. You know what? Instead of coming at me with hate, why don't you hold a conversation with me? This is the best we can do for right now. But like I said, I threw my number out there. It's on my website. Call me. I may not answer immediately because I fully admit, generally I am a busy person now. Running for Senate is time consuming, but I always try and get back to everyone who calls or texts me. And if you call or text me, I will try and get back to you. And like I said, even if it's to call and complain to me. I don't care. I want to hear from everyone. Now, if you're going to call and you're going to curse me out and you're going to be a total ass to me, I'll be polite at first. But again, I'm not a politician. I'm a person. Expect a person's reaction. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Marxists can come at me all they want. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty well read. I've read their ideologies and their handbooks and whatnot. It's stupid, or else it would have worked a million times ago. And here's why Marxism, I'm sure everyone knows this. Here's why Marxism and socialism won't work. Because of human nature. People are greedy. You can never have complete equality until greed and selfishness is taken out of the equation. And people in power apparently want to stay in power. I don't get it. Like I said, I want 2 terms and I want to go back to my dog, singular now. And, if I get power hungry for some reason after 2 terms, vote me out, period. People have the power. It's we, the people. We have the power. And people don't understand, Illinois, we have the numbers to flip this state red. If you look at the registered Republicans, we have the numbers. They feel disenfranchised. They don't feel like they should show up. They feel as though, why do we stand a chance? You know what? Because Trump's in office. He's fighting for us. He's fighting to make fair elections. We already got 1.3 million off the voter rolls. He's wanting to do another census to go and redistrict and make sure that the elections are fair. And every vote is heard and counted correctly. So, yes.
Okay. So what do you think? Well, you got a petition started. Yes,
we do.
The 5th, right?
This was the first day of petition.
Okay. So today's the first day?
Oh, yeah. The 5th was the first day. So today's what, the 8th?
Okay.
I think.
8th, yeah.
So
where can people find you at?
You know what? I'm everywhere. But let's see. Tomorrow I'm going to try and hit up Chinatown with Sophia, if you're watching. hit me up because I would love to walk with you in Chinatown. If let's see, next week I'll be down at the state fair. People can stop by. They can sign my petitions there. And I'm popping up at county chair things and township chair things all over. I got one. Shoot, someone sent me one the other day for another place locally. I did one in Niles, so I pop up everywhere. So if you go to any event that's a Republican event or a Republican-esque event, I generally try and pop up there, just like I popped up at your guys' stuff. And yeah, there's my website actually. So
Yeah,
if you want,
I was very surprised.
yeah. So Goodman for Illinois, all spelled out, .com. All my social media is Goodman for Illinois as well, but GoodmanForIllinois.com. There's a donate button there. I tell people, if you like what you heard, give $5. That's a cup of coffee. That'll help me put some gas in my tank because I put about 2,000 miles a week on my car, driving all over the state, trying to talk to people. I got people like, what about yard signs? I got yard signs on for sale up there. There's a shop. I got hats that say, we the people, because I truly believe in we the people. That's how democracy works. We the people in order to form a more perfect union, right? So, I don't know if I have T-shirts or not on there. I might have T-shirts, but I know I got yard signs and hats. Or like,
you gotta get the merch.
oh, I know people been asking me for swag. So I got a guy who actually asked me if he can start just selling John Goodman flags. And I was like, if you want to start selling them, you start selling them. Go ahead. I don't care, because you know what? If I want my name out there, I want people to talk about me, because people know John Goodman, the actor. And people, they don't give me a chance. Yeah, I got bumper stickers, hats, and signs on there. I thought I had T-shirts too. I'll have to go and figure that one out. But yeah. So people ask, well, how come I haven't heard of you? Here's why you haven't heard of me. All right. When I started all this, I started back in February, and I called people in the party to tell them I was going to run, and I was like, they said, well, it's not your turn. Well, whose turn is it? I'm the only one that's filed, I'm not anymore, but at the time I was. And then they started saying stuff like, you know what? Why don't you run for something else? Then they were like, hey, we don't want an expensive primary. I'm like, then don't primary me. So I'm not getting the attention in the media. I'm being suppressed by the establishment. I'm fighting the establishment right and the left. And you know what? I'm not getting any media attention because people don't want me to get the attention. I rely on actually me going door to door, going to events, shaking hands, showing up at Trump Tower, just talking to random people. And I talk to people everywhere. I don't approach people as a politician. I approach people, hey, my name's John Goodman, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll go and introduce myself and give them a card. And usually I try and fill people out first. If I feel they're a Republican, then I'll go into politics. But if I feel as though they're on the rail, in the middle or on the left, I just want to talk to people. I've had so many people. I've had elected officials on the left tell me that they're going to vote for me because I bring common sense and moderate, real world ideas and solutions forward. I was out in Rockford, and there was a symposium there I spoke at, and it was mostly Democrats, local, state, and I think a federal Democrat was there. And they heard me speak, and I spoke to each one afterwards. Now, some were like, oh, you're a Republican, I'm not even going to. But some of them told me, hey, you know what? I'll vote for you. We need more people who are moderate. We need more people who are willing to bring real stuff to the table. And I find them even like I went out to dinner Cinco de Mayo. I sat down and there was some lady sitting next to me. I just struck up a conversation. She was a registered Democrat, but she's like, you know what? I'll vote for you because you're being real. Yeah, I am. I'm not a politician. I'm a real person. I am. That's it. I'm a real person. So
I like that. So, I would like to, let us know when you want to do the event with us.
yeah.
We will do the event with you because at the end of the day, it's all hands on deck. We did Dr. Long. We interviewed Dr. Long. We plan on interviewing all the candidates, the Republican candidates, because at the end of the day, the people need to understand we have been hurt. people have. We also do not want to, because the Democrats have been bullshit. We also know that the Republicans in Illinois also are some bullshit. So we want to make sure that we revamp this and we put the Republicans in who are going to be for the people, like you got tattooed on you, and not go in there and be dedicated to this machine that we have broken.
I agree. I think that whether it be on the right or the left, I tell people I took an oath to protect our Constitution and our country. And I believe a lot of people on the right and the left aren't doing that. They're looking out for their own self-interest and not the people, not the country, not the state, not the city. And again, I'm running because I was asked to. I never thought I would. You know, I don't want to be a politician. I want to do what the founding fathers wanted a couple terms. Go back home, have a beer, watch some ESPN, and whatever. But since I was asked to, and I said yes, I'm gonna win or lose. I'm gonna give it my all because I'm a man of my word, and I'm gonna keep my word. And anything worth doing is worth doing right. So I'm gonna be out there hustling, doing everything I can. I'm going to be down at the State Fair, like I said, next week. The week after that, I'm trying to get a trip to D.C. I'm supposed to meet with some people in D.C. and some PACs in D.C. And then I'm going to go down to Dallas, and meet some donors there. But in Dallas, this thing that I found out, like I said, I'm not a politician. The first thing they tell you when you're running is call all your friends and family, ask them for money. Well, most of my friends are veterans. And I'd say about a quarter of my friends are actually running for office because veterans everywhere are tired. We're tired of politicians. We're tired of the government being like it is. We want to give the government back to the people. So I'm flying down to Dallas because I got a buddy announcing he's running in Texas 32, and I don't know if you guys know the Epic is what it was called, the Muslim Sharia law neighborhood. That's in Texas 32, and he's running to fight against that because we need American values. I'm sorry, and Sharia law is not conducive to American values. So I'm going down there to speak at his announcement party, and I'll be in September. I'll be back hitting up door to door, walking, knocking, talking to people. But again, call me. My number's here. I'll just throw it out there. My number's 312-522-9386. So yeah, 312, right? 312-522-9386. Call me, text me 24 hours a day after I get off the podcast here, because I am on the podcast with my phone. And you know what? I sometimes I answer, most times I call back because I am busy, but I'll talk to anyone about anything. I've had opponents call me up, and I'll be honest I'll talk to anyone. I'll probably get in trouble somehow with it, but you know what? I don't care because I am a person. I really am. I'm not a politician. I'm running because I was asked to. I'm not going to change me or my values for anyone. Sorry. So, well,
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Mr. Goodman, thank you for taking the time to do this. You're welcome on this platform anytime. So anytime you want to come back on and let us know how we can help you with any of the events that you want to put on, we will happily be there to support you, because at the end of the day, we have to make a change in some type of way, and it's all hands on deck, because we need all the hands at this point to get these Democrats put back.
I agree. So everyone knows. You asked where everyone will be, where I'll be, so everyone can meet me. I'll tell you what. One I know I'll be downtown is Blexit's having a thing August 22nd. I'll be back in town for like 2 days, then I'll be back out of town. But I'll be August 22nd at a place called Recess. I think that's 830 Kinsey. I think 838 Kinsey.
830 Kinsey, Recess.
Recess. I'll be there. I'll actually be speaking, so you'll hear probably some of the same stuff you heard tonight. But I'll have my little folder with my petitions, and you know what? If you want to sign, be like, hey, I like what this guy has to say. Let's get him on the ballot. I'll be there. I'll take some signatures, and like I said, the donation button. If everyone needs to give, whether it's state, local, or whatever, it costs money to run. I never knew how much until I started this. If you don't like me, give to someone else. I don't care. But give $5, $10, whatever, because if you want to affect change, the agents of change need your help. We need word of mouth advertising. We need a couple bucks here and there because, my goodness, the left has all the money. Even though
Right.
Act Blue is
Right.
bankrupt, Raja, he's still got 20 some odd million in the bank. I've never seen $20 million in my life.
Raja, let me tell you something. Raja can have $1 billion in the bank. Raja is not going to win. So that's just what it is. First of all, the Indians done fucked up all of the hospitals around here. They done fucked up a lot of they can't be trusted. So it doesn't matter how much money he has. So I'm doing a whole shit. I'm starting with a video first, then I'm gonna do a live first, then I'm gonna do So So you,
I'll have to watch that one. And then when I tell people Juliana, and when I tell people, they say, who's running on the left? I said Juliana Stratton, and most people are like, who's that? I'm like, that's your lieutenant governor, and they're like, oh, I've never heard of her. Well, that's a good thing. Yeah. So I'd much rather face her than him. So yeah, because she may have Pritzker money, but she's been in office for 6 years. Can you tell me one thing she's done positive at all? Yeah. I can tell you something I've done positive in 6 years. So, But so, all right. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Anytime you want me to come on again, you got my number. Anytime you guys are having another event, hit me up. If I'm in town, I'll come to it. But I got to work the entire state, so and don't get me wrong, I realize all the votes are in Cook County and the collar counties. But I truly
do what you gotta do what you gotta do. Whatever. Let me tell you something.
I don't want to ignore anyone.
There's no right way to figure this out because this is a whole new way. We cannot continue the old way. The old way didn't do shit for us, but continue to send us off. So whatever you feel that will work to get you on because the goal is to get your name on that ballot.
Well, you know what? I would like to set up a time to get with like Corey, is it Brooks, the rooftop preacher, or to get with you guys, or to get with someone and start door knocking and walking on the south side and the west side. I mean, I don't mind doing it myself, but I'd rather have multiple people working petitions with me as opposed to just me. But I would like the chance to actually.
They have Republican committeemen too that you guys need to start using. We got Republican committeemen in majority of these wards that should be able to walk with us to get signatures as well. So we need to start reaching out to them.
Well, I would like to go and I would actually not just get signatures, but I'd like to talk to people and not just talk. People ask me that, when are you going to speak? I said, you know what? On the south side and the west side, I'll give my little 2 to 3 minute spiel, but I don't want to speak. I want to listen. Because politicians have spoken to you, the south side and the west side, for a long time. They haven't listened. So I want to listen. So.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, I got you. So when you're ready to do an event over here, let me know and we'll take it from there.
Got you. All right. So.
Yeah. All right.
The
more you talk, the more you get in the community, the more people will listen to you. That's what the Democratic Party got. But they got in the community, finesse people, but then don't do shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't get in the community, finesse people, and then get in the U.S. Senate and then don't do shit for nobody. So this time, so we got to be very strategic.
And like I said, that's my number. If for some reason I take office and I'm not doing shit, give me a call. Tell me to get off my ass. Tell me I need to do something. Hold me accountable because I should be a public servant. I'm paid to go and work for you, not lord over you. There's a difference. Politicians have forgotten that. People have forgotten that.
Well, that's because these corporations in these countries have donated, and then they go ahead and they're dedicated to this country, or they're dedicated to these set of people, and that be the problem. We can't continue to let this happen anymore. We got to be for all people. Like, donations is great, but one person shouldn't donate, or one group or one country shouldn't donate, and now it's I own you.
And you know what? Term limits that help protect some of that too. Like I said, I want 2 terms. I'll tell you right now, I can't be bought. 1, because I am a man of my word, and 2, I don't want to stay in office forever. I really do want to come back home, watch ESPN, have a beer, and chill with my dogs. I mean, to me, that's my happy spot. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm a man of my word. I said I'd run, I'll run. And anything we're doing right. And I appreciate you guys giving me a platform to try and tell people that, you know what? You have my number. You want to tell me what you think I need to do this right or what I'm doing wrong? Call me. Let me know. I'm open-minded. I'll listen to anyone. It doesn't mean necessarily.
Is that number again?
Number's 312-522-9386. Text is the best way to get a hold of me. And yes, I will be the one responding. But yeah, you'll be amazed. Sometimes I text people and they think it's automated, so they'll text stop, and I'm like, it's really me. So, but yeah, I don't have the money to go and pay for an automated texting service. I text people, so I should give my number out because it's easier for people to call me than me call millions of people. Don't get me wrong, I do call thousands of people literally a week, but I'd rather hear what a constituent needs to, what they want, what they think, what they say they need, right? So,
yeah,
rather than just assuming and be wrong.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't want to lord over people. I want to work for people. So,
I agree with that.
And
all right, then.
Yeah. You said you got to be somewhere, so I don't mean to cut into your time, but
no. I appreciate you. Danny, something wrong with her phone. Her phone overheated. She had texted me and I just saw that. So just texted me, told me that. So
but she was asking some good questions in the beginning too. I think
she did. But
she was throwing heat, and that's why her phone got heated up.
For a reason, because she those are questions that I appreciate that she got about.
Yeah, they were great questions. I loved it. So you know what? I love it when people ask the hard questions because I don't have a script. I'm not prepped. I'm telling you my honest opinions and how I honestly feel. And you know what? If someone asks me a hard question, it means I get to learn too. Sometimes I'll be honest. Someone asked me a question. I was like, you know what? I don't have an educated answer for that, but I want to learn. Talk to me about this because I haven't heard about this before. Talk to me about this. Then I'm going to do some research and I'll get back to you with how I personally feel about it. Because I mean, sometimes there's some things that people just throw out there. You're like, whoa. Anyway, yeah. So, all right. Well, Zoe, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love you guys. I love the Chicago Flips Red. Say hey to Ramona and my goodness, the one I served with. What was her name?
Lynetta.
That's it.
Latanya.
All right. Yeah, say hey to
Latanya. There she is right here, my baby. She was watching the whole time.
There we go. Awesome. Yeah. So, thank you guys again for letting me have a platform. And like I said, hit me up anytime you guys have an event and you at least want someone to show up and have some laughs with, whatever. I'm always down for that. So, and I'll invite you guys to even
how many days to the name to the ballot? So you got November 6th is when
November 6th is, well, I forget the last day. It's in November. I think it's November 6th. The first day to put it is like October 17th, I want to say. So, yeah, I have between now and I'd like to be one of the first.
Like, are you going to do it? Do you have a goal when you're going to put it in? Or I want to put it in?
That first day, I'm going to be down there in Springfield waiting in line before they open up because I want to make sure my shit's good. I'm sorry. I'd rather go and be early than be late. So I'll be there with my McDonald's breakfast. Got me a McMuffin or a McGriddle or whatever. Just wait. So waiting in line. So I'll be there. But yeah, I'll get those signatures. We minimum of 5,000, max of 10,000. And right now we're 3 days into it and I probably got about 300-400 maybe, I think. I don't know. I haven't counted, but I got we're working. We're doing good. Like I said, tomorrow I want to walk Chinatown. I think Next Saturday, I'm walking with in Will County with Christian Maxwell. I'm gonna be walking with her. So yeah, I'll be walking a lot lately. So I'm gonna get my steps in. Maybe I'll get skinny again. We'll see. So
All right.
all right.
All right, Mr.
All right.
Goodman. Thank you so much. And anytime.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All righty. We'll see you.
Peace.
All right.